Welcome in to another edition of the Voice of College Football. So we'll get to that. So yeah, welcome in Buffs Nation. So we have changed the name to Shoulder Colorado Live. So moving forward, you're going to see S2S for the new name. So again, welcome in another edition of S2S Colorado Live. As you can see, the new I'm your host Manny. You can see the new background was set up. I want to take credit for that, but shout out to the wife. Did a fantastic job hooking us up, making sure we look good now. Lighting all set up, but yeah, really excited for this show today. Got a lot to talk about. I shouldn't say a lot, but just just a few things that transpired over the weekend. Name change, all those kind of things. So let's jump into this. What I want to do is, let me see here. So, and again, make sure you are following us. Again, I always appreciate any support. X is X Twitter at Manny_303, IG 303_Manny. And again, the text phone line is always open. So any time of the day you want to call, text in. Again, the number is 970-614-5771. So again, any support, trying to grow the channel out, we do appreciate it. So today's show, there's some questions / comments that were left from last week from a couple of viewers. So I want to go over those. The AP poll dropped this afternoon. So definitely want to catch up on that, show you where Colorado stands on it, the votes that were received, and what that looks like. So again, and we'll talk more about the AP poll when we get there. And then I want to call it a thing, Buffs in the league. So we are going to be jumping into talking about what we've seen over the week. And it was a big preseason weekend for the Colorado Buffs, alumni there. They had a great weekend. So I'm pretty excited about that. I think a lot of us are. And again, what happened on Friday night during the show, we were kind of on there. I was kind of distracted a little bit trying to see what Shedeur was doing, but we're definitely going to hit that today. And then some recruiting. And this is more so about just we talked about the dead period. We're going to talk about that as well. But let's jump into, and then running back breakdown today. So I don't want to forget about that either. So let me see here, pull something up real quick. So we'll jump into questions that a couple individuals posed from the comments. So let's jump into it. So some questions. This first one, this is from CB33M7M. I think this is more of just just to add to the show, which I think is a fantastic idea. Again, open to all the feedback. What he said was, if you could add a graphic of the player you were talking about, that would be cool. And I think absolutely. I'm still trying to figure out how to work this thing 110%. So we will definitely be looking into that as far as making graphics, those some kind of template, so that way we're used to what it looks like, what we can see. But again, I think that would be fantastic. So and then Statesman 15 said dead period until week 0, I believe. That sounds about right to me. I know that's essentially what that means is there's no offers being sent out, no visits being given, those kind of things. So it's just a dead period in recruiting at that point. And yeah, you're absolutely correct there. But I'm pretty, we'll see, those visits will start lining up quickly for the season. And again, that's when we know the Buffs do their work, is during the season. And again, we have 10, I believe it's 10 commits, 11 now, I think, with Joseph Manu, who I will also be given a scouting report on. So make sure you tune in on Wednesday show. We're going to go over that. But again, the Buffs are at 11 now, 11 total recruits, I believe it is now, with the addition of Joseph Manu, the flip from San Jose State. So we'll bring up a graphic of that, show us where we stand. But at last year at this time, there is 0. And if you look at it, there is 14 in the class of 2025. There was 14 total recruits out of high school. So the Buffs are going to surpass that. And again, this may be due, in fact, to the way that the NIL is now set up. So that's just something that it almost, I don't want to say discourages people from or kids from transferring, but that's kind of the idea behind it. And again, we have a lot to still unpack there about Texas Tech and these other schools that are still offering tons of money to these players. So we can hit that as well. And then a question here. What does dead period mean? So again, it's just that time where it's essentially, I want to say no contact with the players. No, I don't think offers are sent out. They cannot visit the campus. And again, that is at week 0, which is in not this weekend, but the 23rd and 24th of August. And again, that is, and we'll talk about that too, because the AP poll, all these different sources posted, essentially what we kind of already knew. What were the big games? And we'll talk about that once we get into the AP poll. But yes, thank you for that. Any of those kind of comments, feedback, I don't know everything. So yeah, any of those things are fantastic and much appreciated. Corey Bingham, 8732 said Sam Hart transferred. Yes, he did. That's my bad. Just a lot to unpack there, trying to figure out the other tight ends. And there are a lot more players at these positions that we don't bring up, or I should say I don't bring up, because I don't expect a lot of them to get a lot of burn this year, get a lot of playing time. So it's you kind of get lost in. The reason I say that is Sam Hart transferred, but he is still in the portal. So what that means, okay, so I think this kind of jumps into it. So what happens if a player is in the portal and doesn't get picked up? So one, loss of scholarship. So the original school, so in this instance is Colorado, they don't have to keep the player's scholarship or roster spot. They have gotten rid of that, or he has gotten rid of that once they have entered the portal. No guarantee of return. So let's say Sam Hart wanted to come back to the Buffs. It's not a guarantee. He may be offered a lesser role or no spot at all. Financial and academic risk. The player may lose academic credits and have to pay for their own education without a scholarship. Potential end of career, end of football career, I say, playing football. Not finding a new team can mean the end of their college athletic career. A couple of the alternative options are out. They could play at a lower division, junior college, whatever it may be, but that option still does exist. And I would say a low success rate. So many athletes that do enter the portal don't successfully transfer to a school at the same level. And again, what we do have to think about is the roster cap, right? How many scholarships you can give. I'll have to find the number on that, but there is I don't want to call it a huge, but there was a ton of players that entered the portal and were not picked up. And that's just part of what it is now in this new NIL era of college football that we're entering in. I guess I should say the new norm of it. There's only a certain amount of it's 105. And when you have that is a huge cut down. Some schools were at 155, 160. You do the math, right? There's only I guess now there's only 136 FBS schools. So when you drop to that low, there's only, there's going to be a lot of players that do not get picked up, and their only option is going to be to a lower division or junior college team. And that is that's the harsh reality of this. So again, any young players watching this, make sure you understand that, whatever it is, agents or whatever that are guiding you one way, make sure that you know your rights as a player, what this looks like moving forward. So yeah, just something to think about. Does Offerdahl still being on scholarship impact the scholarship cap, or since he's not playing football, does that change its impact? I am not sure, since he's not playing, what that looks like. I'm wondering if it's a medical redshirt kind of year. I'm not sure what they're counting it as. We would have to dive deeper into that, which we can again and talk about the next show. But there is a medical redshirt, which Charlie Offerdahl was, it was for concussions, why he was stepping away. So again, I would assume that, I'm not sure how that medical redshirt counts now with the 105, with the 105 roster now. So great question, but something we can definitely look into. So now the AP poll, let me get this pulled up for you all. So Associated Press poll came out today. Let me get it pulled Any audio coming through? Nothing yet? Nothing? What was that? Okay. Audio sounds like it is coming through now, just to make sure. Okay, so dive back into it. So with the top 25, sorry, I had to refresh and do a couple things. With the top 25, it comes out again. Just take a look at this. We look at the top 25 every year when it comes out, right? We know perfect. We know that when the top 25 does come out, in my opinion, I do not think we should have an AP coaches poll to start the year for a top 25. Again, it doesn't really matter, in my opinion, anymore like it used to. We look at this, we look at the AP poll, coaches poll, and again, the only one that really matters now, not really, the only one that does matter is the college football playoff poll, the CFP poll. And the reason I say that is, right, that is what determines who's in postseason play. It's almost just like a fun little practice now that the Associated Press does. And again, I don't know how much weight that the AP poll really carries versus the coaches poll. In my opinion, I like to lean in more to the coaches poll, just because these are the individuals that are living it, going through it, understand what teams have, don't have, positive, negatives about a roster, all of those things. And again, when we look at the top 25, as you can see, it is Big Ten and SEC. We see the SEC like Alabama at 8, LSU at 9, right? We have these individuals, South Carolina. So again, it does, I don't know how much of this is a little bias that comes in at the end of the year when, let's say, for instance, when we have, let's say Colorado finishes 9-3 and Ole Miss finishes 9-3. What does that look like when we have a team that was ranked number 21 to start the year versus a team that was not ranked? So again, how much of that does that play in, right, to the CFP committee, the College Football Playoff Committee? How much of that weighs in there? Again, I don't know. I'm not in that back room. I don't, only they know. But again, it almost just, in my opinion, it doesn't do anything at this point. Right? Because you could say Ole Miss was wire to wire in the top 25 all year. Okay, great. But just because Colorado or Duke or Pittsburgh or somebody else was ranked outside of the top 25, why does that matter? So again, it's just something to think about. But again, they're fun more than anything. So that's where we're at here. This is what the top 25 AP poll looks like. And again, this is the Associated Press. And then the coaches poll that came out, I want to say it was last week or 2 weeks ago. I don't want to say it was similar, but it's all kind of the same teams again. I wouldn't put a ton of weight into the AP and coaches poll. What I would just wait for that first CFP poll to come out. And again, I think it just makes it in my opinion, a lot better way to go about it. Because again, there's no, what is it? It would be, the NFL ranks they have a top 15 poll to start the season, which again, I don't even know what that would do, what it would accomplish at that point. So just something to think about as we move forward with this. More fun than anything at this point, in my opinion. And then Colorado, they received one top 25 vote, so one vote from the Associated Press. So we'll see. Yeah, we'll see what that comes out to. But again, this is our top 25 going into the year from the AP. So let's see. Okay. So next, the next piece that we're going to talk about on the show. Next piece we're going to talk about. So I want to jump into buffs in the league, we'll call it. So really great outing this weekend. And again, I was live during the Shador performance, which we'll get to. But LeJohntay Wester, he had a huge punt return. First time he touched the ball. Again, us as Colorado fans, we're probably not shocked by this, which we shouldn't be. We've seen him when he gets the ball in his hand. Only good things happen when LeJohntay has the ball. So that was exciting. I know my son and I, him and I were sitting there, and I was on the phone with the wifey, and it was really cool. She was my son and I, we just started yelling and screaming, "Go, go, go, LeJohntay!" So he took that punt back to the house. Fantastic moment. But again, um, he's having a great camp too. Great training camp as well. He ended up with 2 catches for 41 yards, targeted 3 times, so 2 out of 3, not bad at all. Take it every day, and average 20 and a half per reception. And again, he is doing big things. And again, us as Buff fans, we are not shocked by this or seeing what he's doing. Jimmy Horn, 4 receptions for 15 yards, 5 targets. And again, short game kind of thing. And again, how much weight we put into this in the preseason is, not too high, not too low with these kind of things. But again, Jimmy Horn's a playmaker. He's fast with the ball. Just the more you can get the ball in his hands, the better, and especially in space. So Shiloh had 1 tackle. Shiloh Sanders, 1 tackle. And again, from all the reports, he's having a fantastic training camp. Let's see, Devin Hester hitting LeJohntay with that knowledge. Great to see from the get. Yep, absolutely. But yeah, just Shiloh is having a great camp. So just want to pay attention, want to keep our eyes on, I should say. Travis Hunter, 2 receptions for 9 yards. Now, I seen, everybody on social media everybody has an opinion. It's almost like, with Shador and Travis, it was almost just, and people just waiting around, waiting for them to fail to talk about. You did poorly, it was just a matter of time, right? They couldn't say anything in college. They couldn't say, about Shador. They couldn't say anything about Travis Hunter. He missed a tackle. This is the NFL. And again, what we need to really understand is how much of this were they even tackling in practice yet? Was this their first full contact? And the reason I bring that up is because I was watching a game Thursday night. It was the Seahawks and Raiders. The Raiders could not tackle to save their lives, it looked like. But then it was the next day or so, they confirmed that was their actual first live to the ground tackling they had. And again, it showed. Raiders missed a ton of tackles. So it is something again, it is preseason. But again, how long have people been waiting to hold in, to say something poorly about these Colorado kids? So it's just, it's weird to see, right? Grown men, grown adults, whomever it may be, talking about waiting for these kids to fail when, truthfully, that should be rooting for all of them to have success, right? And again, whether you like them or not, they're still young men entering this league trying to do their best. So that is, yeah, I hope nothing but the best for the whole rookie class, any rookies, any of these young men. But last one that I want to get to, and Shador. So if you watch that, man, that was really impressive. I was blown away by it. And again, I don't want to say blown away, but I'm not shocked. So after it happened, I was looking at it going, this is not shocking whatsoever to me. We know why he slid in the draft. Again, it had nothing to do with the play on the field. And again, what are you going to do? I mean, he is, in my opinion, he was the best quarterback in this past draft class. Again, not to take anything away from Cam Ward at all, but in my opinion, it was all there. You watched him. I had the opportunity over the last 2 years to watch his home games at CU. And you watch him read the defense, you watch him at the line of scrimmage, placing the ball. Again, it was like I said, Travis Hunter was on a whole different league. Him and Shador, you just knew that those two were the 2 best players on the field when the offense was out there. And then, again, Travis on defense, it was pretty clear. I liked what Coach Prime said. I think it said, "Now what?" or what now, something like that. But again, absolutely. And then Shador after the game went up to Tony Grossi, I think is his name, a reporter for the Cleveland Browns. And they had a conversation about it, and this is the same guy. I don't know if you all have seen this, that Baker Mayfield walked out of a press conference on and was like, "What do you like? You're asking me this question? Like, dude, I just told you the answer here." And Baker Mayfield was kind of, looked like he wanted to call him some other names, some choice words there. But yeah, this is that same guy. So again, but the best part about it was Shador. He, and then started, joking and trying to laugh with them, telling him I didn't do nothing, and again, he didn't. And for some reason, Shador gets this rap. He is a fantastic young man. A story of mine is his last home game. We were there, walked, at the end of the field. I don't know if you guys seen Shador walk towards the fans. And my son got his Shador actually handed my son his game used towel, which was awesome. The whole ride home. I mean, right as soon as we got out of the stadium, my out of Folsom, my son looks at me, who is 7 years old, and says, "Hey, what was your guys' favorite part of the season?" Like, my wife and I looked at him like, "Yeah, I'm pretty sure we know what you're going to say here." So I don't know, what was yours? And he's like, when Shador gave me his towel within minutes, and he was lit up the whole ride home, the whole walk back to the car from Folsom. He's just been, and my son still sleeps with that towel every single night. So game use towel. I mean, I don't know what we're gonna tell him about that, but he loves it. So I have nothing but positive things to say about him. And what I loved is, he pulled he gave him one of those, the Nike ad that came out. I don't know if you all were able to see it, but it had 11 million impressions in less than 24 hours. That's 4 times more impressions than they typically receive for even their most popular post. So again, there is a following there. There is a need there. And again, the Browns, they have a quarterback problem. And so, I mean, it's almost like it's self-created by them right now. I did see today that they said that he was still taking 14 reps. I mean, at this point, you almost want them to just, well, if you guys aren't going to use him correctly, let him actually compete for the job, because he, in my opinion, that quarterback debate, he answered that question and made the decision very, very easy on Friday night. So we'll see what Cleveland does. But at that point, if you're not going to let the young man play, then maybe go look to trade him, cut him, let him go somewhere we can actually compete for the job and get some playing time that he deserves. So we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens there, but just something to follow. But yeah, Shador, man, so proud of that young man, all the adversity, everything he's going through, just taking his reps, practicing, working extra, staying late, getting advice from whomever. There was that shot though that I don't know if you all seen it. It was Deshaun Watson was sitting there, Dillon Gabriel and Joe Flacco. Joe Flacco was smiling, from ear to ear. Other two, not so much. And again, no shots at Deshaun Watson or Dillon Gabriel. They could have caught him at the wrong point, whatever it may be. But it was just telling who was the vet in the locker room at that point. But again, fantastic young man, fantastic human. And again, if you don't know what Shador does within the communities that he is in, just start, Google that right quick. Follow him on Twitter or whomever. You'll always see he's doing something with the youth. So fantastic young man. Again, my family and I have nothing but respect him. And again, somehow this gets to Shador. Thank you so much. My son appreciated that. So, but his stat line was 14 for 23, 138 yards, 2 touchdowns, and 106.8 QB rating. Yeah, fantastic. So he, that one of the, I can't remember if it was the first or second. I want to say it was the first. Rolled out, placed that tight window in the back of the end zone. Other guy peeled off coverage. I seen, a couple people were like, well, he threw it in double coverage. No, that's not what that was. He was peeling off the other guy that was on, I don't even know who he was guarding, but he peeled off, but again, still couldn't get a perfectly placed ball. And again, that is something as Colorado fans, we know accuracy. That dude could just accurate as can be. So just a great outing for Shador, and hopefully, if the Browns are smart, they'll get him. They'll let him start. He should be the starter moving into Week 1, and probably not even have to touch the field in preseason again. All right, so just real quick on the recruiting. Just there's not a lot. We're in the dead period. We do, the 15th. Just make sure this Friday you're watching in. I don't know if there's a time yet, but we'll look it up. CJ Sadler, and again, I have a good feeling about that one. We'll see what he ends up doing. And again, it's these young men that, man, it would be national prime time every single week. You're on national television every single week. So again, just throwing that out there. Let's see. So now let's jump into the running back breakdown. I might have said DB earlier, but running back breakdown. Yeah, Chad Bolton says that he might watch a Browns game or two. Yeah, it was I never thought I'd be so invested in the Browns. Like, part of me wants to buy a Cleveland Browns jersey, but I don't want to buy a Cleveland Browns jersey. So, but again, if all love to Shador, though, all love to the Buffs in the league. So, so let's jump into this. Our defensive back, or I don't know, running back breakdown. I don't know why. Maybe I want to talk about defensive backs again, but yeah, I don't think so. Yeah, I'd love to. I want to talk about these running backs now. So let's jump into this. When we dive into these, we like to. What I like to do is just kind of give us a breakdown of what last season, the output from last season, and where the Buffs rank. So kind of just an overview, wrap up of the 24 season. So let's get started on this. So let's rewind this, not just production, but where Colorado stood nationally in the run game. I do want so the rushing output, the Buffs averaged 65.2 rushing yards per game, near the bottom of the FBS. So this would have got them 132nd, I believe, out of 134 teams nationally. And again, this is last year's number. This year, there's 136 teams nationally in FBS. Big 12. So just to give you an idea, where they rank. So I'm going to list them from 1 all the way down to 16. So UCF averaged 248.1 yards, Arizona State 200.6, Kansas State 215.5, Kansas 211.4, West Virginia 193.7, Baylor 178.8, Iowa State 160.5, Cincinnati 184.1. So we are halfway through the Big 12. Texas Tech 165.9, BYU 161.0, Houston 134.8, Utah 130.4, TCU 113.9, Oklahoma State 111.8, Arizona 106.6, and Colorado last at 65.2. So dead last in the Big 12. And again, that wasn't very hard, right? Once we know that they're ranked 132 out of 134 nationally, we kind of see where that was going. This is an area that definitely needed to be cleaned up. And again, this does not just go because the running backs are bad. That is not at all. If you've ever played the game of football, played offensive line in particular, you'd be able to understand that it is that unit needs to be cohesive up front as well as the running back. So the running game takes this is where teamwork comes in. Getting to know each other, practice, understanding what the running back is seeing versus what the offensive front is seeing. So this is where this thing needs to be a well-oiled machine here. Leading rusher last year was Isaiah Gustav, 384 yards on 85 carries. Man, and 4 rushing touchdowns. He was getting going. At one point, he started to get moving. It looked like Colorado had found the Buffs had found their run game. Looks like that they were back, ready to get rolling again, and never really materialized into anything. Last year, we see Michael Welch got injured, got hurt. I want to say it was a hamstring. I can't remember, but he averaged 4.33 yards, 186 yards, 4 touchdowns. Dallin Hayden, again, who I have been ranting and raving about, as you guys all know, at 196 yards. Charlie Offerdahl, 119 yards. And again, he will not be on the team this year due to the concussion. So just another player that won't be there. And again, regardless, Charlie's leadership will be missed. And again, Isaiah was turning into something. Again, I can't remember where he ended up, but I think he hit the portal again. And I don't know where he ended up after it was in Virginia, Wake Forest. I can't remember, one of those schools he went to. Didn't work out, hit the portal again. Do not know where he ended up though. I know that some fans wanted Isaiah to return to Colorado. I don't know what that looked like, what happened with that, but again, we're not going to know that type of information, I should say. So again, departures. So again, there may have been more, but the two major ones: Isaiah Gustav entered the transfer portal, not in Boulder. Brandon Hood, he's gone, and that's Colton Hood's brother. So, like we talked about, Colton Hood's at Tennessee. Brandon Hood, where did he end up? See, I can't even. There's so many with the transfer portal in and out. He's just not. He's not on the Buffs. He looked promising. Could fly. Could run. Was really really fast. So, but our returning running backs, like we talked about, so Michael Welch, Dallin Hayden, and then would have been Charlie, but again, like we already spoke about Charlie. Welch and Hayden, they're the foundation of the backfield. So they are explosive, steady. They have to be steady, and they have to find that third back, which we will talk about. So now the transfer additions. Isaiah to South Carolina, is that where he's at currently? Because I think he was at West Virginia, or was it Virginia or Wake Forest? I think initially, I can't remember where he went. I remember Prime came on and said, "You took one," and he said something back in was it spring ball? I can't remember when it was, but he was talking about something else. I can't remember, but transfer additions. So one that I'm really excited about, DeKalen Taylor. So transferred from Incarnate Word in San Antonio. As a transfer, he was a three-star. Last year, 152 carries for 909 yards, 9 touchdowns, and averaged 6 yards. So one of the coolest plays I've ever seen, he had a 97-yard run last year versus Northern Arizona. So if you have some time, Google that one. Just DeKalen Taylor, 97-yard run versus Northern Arizona. It was, man, he just outran everybody on the field. 97 yards is not something you're going to see quite often, if ever. So really excited for what he brings. He is the running back that is entering the program that I am most excited for. So track hawk, tons of speed there, tons of explosion, very explosive player. So curious to see what the role he has. Simeon Price. So this is 3-star from Mississippi State, where they got him as a transfer. So again, he was a 3-star transfer. I believe even when he came out of high school, he was a 3-star. He had 30 carries for 150 yards. So there has been, I guess, a little bit of buzz around him over this, this camp. But again, I don't know. I'm not there every day. I'm not sure, So the two that have got the most have been, obviously Dallin Hayden and Michael Welch. They have a much improved running back room. So, and then I think one that I should have kind of talked about for returning, one that is probably going to get some carries. I don't know how many, but Draylen Miller. Again, that is the Deebo Samuel. That's the role he plays. Should be. I mean, he played it last year, but Draylen Miller. We'll see if he gets some carries. Really, really good young player. One that I'm excited for is a slot receiver, as a running back, think of him as the Deebo Samuel of a couple years ago with the 49ers, the Deebo Samuel of this Buffalo team. Let's look at this. So now, projected week 1 lineup. Now, what I will say about this, I don't think it really matters who starts. Again, the two the two lead backs are going to be Dallin Hayden and Michael Welch. Those are the two that we need to watch, pay attention to. Those are the two that you'll see, 7 and number 29. Those are going to be the bow cows of the offense. Fantastic players. That were the actual position battle comes in at is that third running back. And again, that can be situational as well. But right now I would lean towards DeKalen Taylor. And again, I just like the young man. Anytime he has spoken, just a smile on his face. Just really appreciate his how he speaks, how he how he carries himself. Just fantastic young man. So always positive. Real excited for him. So I would say he's probably your leader at 3. Or sorry, for the third, that next running back. So yeah, that's how I see this room playing out. Again, that a lot of people, I was been reading some articles and media saying, well, they lost their leading running back, and it's like, well, yeah, I get that, but it's not like they lost like a 800-900 yard rusher, even 700 yards. Leading rusher was what did it 380? Augusta with 384. Again, it wasn't like a humongous loss. Again, we were excited for him, but again, it was nothing earth shattering, anything like that. But again, those 3 running backs, really excited for this season to see what they do. And again, what gets me really excited about it is that offensive line room. Again, that those 2 go hand in hand. So that is where the biggest upgrade, in my opinion, was the offensive line. I've been saying that since spring ball. That is where these running backs are going to be felt the most. Again, the first, I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, I don't think we've had a 100-yard rusher from a running back in the Coach Prime era. We should get a handful this year with that offensive line. Now the coaching, right? This is one that I'm very high up. Marshall Falk. Under running back coach Marshall Falk, emphasis is on physicality, downhill vision, elite instinct. Again, we'll see what that looks like as far as power run, gap run, zone. We'll see what that looks like. Again, most teams do run both of them, all 3 of them, if you want to call it. But this again, I'm excited for it. And again, Marshall Falk, one of the best running backs ever. Probably outside of Barry Sanders, my favorite running back that's ever played. So loved watching him as a kid. So yeah, so we'll see what that looks like. But again, that it doesn't hurt; it can only help at that point. So just some, just kind of takeaways, outlook, those kind of thing. They have talent at running back. They have the speed. They have that they need, again, especially that offensive line. These backs should eat this year. This is, in my opinion, we are going to see a way more balanced offense this year that is going to run the football. That play action is going to be there. And again, I think, what if this was last year, and wouldn't that be fantastic if this was last year and Shador had this offensive line with Travis Hunter? Who knows at that point, some of those close games, were they even close at that point? Eating up the clock, being able to run, where they, as Colorado was one-dimensional. So, but we'll see. That offensive line is going to get the job done up front. And those backs, again, like I said, they're going to eat. They're going to have big years. So again, we'll see what this looks like. So let's talk about what's coming up next for next week. This week. So let's jump into on Wednesday, we're going to do quarterback. So that should be a fun show. One that I'm looking forward to a ton. Like this is the one. Again, it's just there's 2 different quarterbacks with 2 different skill sets. And again, it is not like, I seen, just trying to think of a couple situations from last year, but they talk about, well, when you have 2 quarterbacks, you don't have one. Again, like we talked about, this is different, right? You look at Las Vegas Raiders last year, Gardner Minshew and Aiden O'Connell. They had 2 quarterbacks that were competing, never were able to settle it. They didn't have one quarterback last year that was a starter caliber. So again, it is interesting to see. This is different. So, and then again, like we talked about, make sure that you are. Let me get this going across the bottom, but that you do subscribe. And again, make sure those are the follow on Twitter at Manny_303, Instagram 303_Manny. And again, make sure this is available on every single major platform where you get your podcast at. Make sure that you're logging onto those, checking us out there. Text phone line, again, like we talked about, it's always open, 970-614-5771. Any help support that you guys can give us would be fantastic. And again, appreciate you all joining us for us. And Wednesday we'll talk some quarterbacks. Joseph Manu will get that scouting report put out for you. I should say I will get that scouting report put out for you. So make sure you join us. But yeah, have a good evening, and we'll see you Wednesday. Let's go Buffs, baby.